Today's case, we will see how this case was solved due to the power of social media, and its victims got justice, which, if these platforms were not there, they would not have got justice. So let's learn a little more about today's case, revolving around Pune's Porsche incident. Anish Aadia Bar Singapore was a resident of Madhya Pradesh. Anish was the eldest son of his family. He was sweet, actually very sweet. He loved animals as much as he loved humans. He was helpful in nature, but at the same time he was also very smart, and he never backed down from taking the responsibility of his family. In fact, when he was admitted to D.Y. Patil Engineering College in Pune, he was very happy, because after becoming an engineer, he knew that he would be able to support his family, will be able to support his younger brother's education. That's why he shifted to Pune to complete his dreams in engineering. Along with engineering, Anish was also very fond of photography, sketching, and traveling. Initially, when he shifted to Pune, he missed his family a lot, which I'm pretty sure some of you guys can relate to it, but he knew this thing inside that someday this sacrifice will pay off. And after 4 years of hard work, he got a job in a good company as a software engineer. And just a few months after getting the job, Anish shifted his younger brother with him to Pune. Anish made a lot of friends in Pune. He made a lot of good friends. That's why he started liking Pune, because wherever your friends are, it doesn't matter which city it is. Wherever your friends are, you will like that city. That's why the time he spent in Pune was very good and happy. And one of his many friends was Ashwini Ghosh. Ashwini Ghosh was from Madhya Pradesh like Anish, specifically from Jabalpur. She was a bright student since childhood. She was always in the top ranks of her class. And because she was the youngest daughter of her family, she was loved a lot. So she also shifted for her engineering. And when she got a proper job, after completing her engineering course, her family was very happy that our dear daughter got a job. And now she can stand on her own 2 feet. After going to Pune, Ashwini used to call her father every day and used to tell him what she was going to do today, just to keep him up to date. And on the morning of May 18th, she told her father on the phone that she hadn't gone to meet her friends for many days. That's why she was going to have a party and dinner with some of her friends today. And one of these friends was her Anish too. So at night, all these friends gathered at one place. And in Pune's Kalyani Nagar? In Pune's Kalyani Nagar, these people gathered in a restaurant to eat. Because all these people met after a long time. So they talked a lot, gave each other updates on their lives, told each other what was going on in their lives. So while talking, laughing, joking, they got so late that they didn't even know the time. But the next day was Sunday, and these guys were corporate job people, so they didn't mind. Next day is Sunday, so it's okay. So these guys, they didn't mind being late. But now it was 2 o'clock in the night, and everyone felt that okay. Now we should go back home. Anish and Ashwini were on one bike, and their friend Achib Mullah was on his bike behind them. Anish and Ashwini had to take a U-turn on the road to go home. So Anish saw before taking a U-turn that is there any vehicle coming behind me? Just to be safe, you know? Because Ashwini was sitting behind him. And the driver, who is always driving the car, he has a little bit of an idea that now it's not just about my safety, it's also about the safety of the person sitting next to me. That's why he turned back and saw that there was no car coming somewhere at that time. So after looking back, when he saw the road empty, he started taking a U-turn. But in a few seconds, he was going to get such a shock. That too from such a man who probably didn't care about the lives of other people. Because behind Anish and Ashwini's bike, a Porsche car was coming very fast. A supercar, which was coming close to their bike at a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. The speed of that car was so much that when that car passed by the people, it took them 2 seconds to register that the shock they felt was due to a car. The voice that came in their ears was of that car's engine, which was driving so fast on the road that within seconds, the person sitting behind the steering wheel of that car had killed 2 people. So this Porsche car was driving very fast, and unfortunately, it collided with a bike in which Ashwini and Anish were sitting. That Porsche car collided with Anish's bike with such intensity that due to the impact of that crash, Ashwini's body, who was sitting behind, flew almost 20 feet in the air and fell on the road. And Anish's body collided with the parked car ahead, and both of them died immediately, unfortunately, on the spot. Anish and Ashwini, who were having fun with their friends a few seconds ago, were telling their life updates. Now, their dead bodies were on the road. And only one person was responsible for their death. And one carelessness to drive the car fast. And this carelessness was of the person sitting behind the steering wheel of the Porsche car. But who was this man after all? Vedant Agarwal, the owner of a big realtor company Brahma, an infrastructure company in Pune, Vishal Agarwal's son, who was going to be 18 years old in just 4 months. So he was not a single man. Due to Vedant Agarwal's passing in 12th grade, Vedant went to a few bars with his friends to throw a drink party. First he went to Cozy Bar, and then he went to Black Bar. So as I said, he was going to be 18 years old in just 4 months. So yes, he was underage. And yes, Vedant's parents, Vedant's father knew that Vedant had a supercar. Who gave it to him? And he also knew this thing. His parents also knew this thing that he used to drink. And even after knowing this thing clearly, because it can be seen from the looks that how old a man is. So even after knowing this thing clearly, that Vedant is underage, one employee of the bar had served Vedant a drink. By the way, not 1, 2 employees had served this drink to Vedant. And on the same night, Vedant had drank a drink of 48,000. With which this thing can be assumed that first of all, how many drinks will come in so much money? So how drunk he was. And second thing is that how spoiled Vedant was. Now apparently his driver also went with Vedant. His driver also went in his Porsche. But when it was time to go home, around 2 o'clock when it was time to go home, then he forcefully took the keys from his driver by saying that I will drive the car, and he sent his driver somewhere else. Now there is a little problem here because there was a report from Vedant's side that there was no one with him. But later there were many incidents that his driver was with him or not. But for now, we take Vedant's first statement that there was no one with him. Vedant was driving this car alone. So after drinking a lot at night, Vedant must have felt like driving fast. That's why he took the keys from his Porsche driver. Now Vedant was in a drunk state and he wanted to drive the car. Why is this? Maybe the interests of the rich are different. Vedant was taken to the bar by his driver. And maybe after seeing Vedant's condition, the driver would have understood that he is not in a condition to drive the car at all. Neither did he have a license, nor was he of legal age to drive a car. So being a responsible person, Vedant's driver called his father Vishal and told him that your son is demanding such a stupid thing by drinking me. Vedant's driver must have felt that maybe his father will scold him. But Vedant's father Vishal told Vedant's driver that let my son drive the car. He knows what he is doing. Even knowing that his son is drunk, not drunk but extremely drunk, his father allowed him to do this thing. So when the father said, what would the poor driver do? He is just doing a job there. He can't go against them. So that's why he also gave them the keys. So Vedant, his friend, and the driver were sitting in the car. Vedant stepped on the accelerator, and he just didn't stop. The speed of the car had become so much that Vedant did not know how to control the car. And before the driver could make him understand, the people around him could make him understand. Vedant crashed the car with Anish and Ashwini's bike. If you look at the photos after the car crashed, you will get an idea by looking at the damage that how fast the car would have come. So as soon as people heard the sound of the crash, all the people who were on the roadside or around the road or around that spot, they ran straight towards that bike. Because what happened in front of their eyes was no less than a horror scene. I told you guys right. Ashwini was 20 feet above in the air. How high that thing is. Anish and Ashwini's body was lying on the road, and the airbags of the Porsche car were open. So seeing this thing, that I took the lives of 2 people, or he must have felt that I have killed 2 people. So seeing this thing, Vedant was ready to run away from there. But still some people present there caught him immediately. And being India, they started killing him. Which is good in this situation. I'm not going to deny that thing. Because I don't support beating someone, but I also don't support drinking and driving. So yeah, And after hearing what happened next in this case, you guys will also get a little relief that at least people killed him at that time. Which is, again, I don't support violence, but in this case, it feels so infuriating that what people can do with money. You guys will see. Now, 2 people have died, a bike has crashed very hard, a Porsche car has crashed in such an expensive car, and Vedant got bail just 15 hours after going to jail. Now you guys might be thinking that what the hell is happening? How did he get bail? He took the lives of 2 people. So don't worry. He didn't get bail just like that. He got bail on some conditions. Like he had to write an essay on the topic of effects of road accident and their solution. He had to do duty with Yeravada police for 15 days. He had to take treatment for his alcohol addiction. And he had to take counseling session. Poor Vedant. How bad it was with him. He has to write an essay of 300 words. He can't do that thing, right? And after hearing this condition, he feels that this is just for the betterment of Vedant. And this is just to, I don't know how to say it. An essay of 300 words, man, seriously. But anyways, you must have understood how stupid this thing is from my voice. But Vedant was doing everything right. What about Ashwini and Anish? Where was the justice of both of them? Where was the justice of Ashwini and Anish? When the CCTV footage of the accident and the conditions of the bail, what are the conditions? But the conditions of the bail started circulating on social media. Then everyone was just shocked. Is the price of 2 people's life an essay of 300 words? It's not an essay of 300 words. He had to do his duty for so many days. Poor guy. Right? Is it so easy for the rich people to take the judiciary system in their hands? To make them do whatever they want? And generally, this question is still valid. Can everything be bought with money? Even law, even justice. And I think common man had enough of this. After seeing so much outrage of social media, juvenile board canceled Vedant's bail. He was kept in remand. All of this, well, when Vedant's blood sample was collected on Sunday to see if there was alcohol in his body or not, then you know what happened. I'm gonna say this hospital's name wrong, but it's probably Session. 2 doctors from Session Hospital, Hongfer. It is very infuriating. 2 doctors from there threw Vedant's blood sample in the garbage. And they exchanged his blood sample with someone else's blood sample. Again, this is the hospital's name. So big. You can see, the hospital's employees did this. How did they do it? Just imagine. Just think about it. And if you don't understand why all this was done so that in Vedant's blood sample, or in the report of Vedant's blood sample, there is no trace of alcohol. Because of this, his investigation would have been longer, and he would have got a harder punishment. And again, why did they do all this? Because of money and influence. In fact, the night Vedant was taken to the police station that night, the police officers there, they didn't even investigate this case properly. And not only that, 2 days after the incident, Vedant's family told the police that Vedant was not driving the car, but the driver was driving the car. And this thing you must have heard somewhere before, that the culprit was not driving the car, but the driver was driving it. Anyway, this happens a lot. But was the car really driven by the driver? The answer to this is no, because the people who were present there, who were present at the place of the accident, they had seen, who had come out of the driving seat of the car. And they had also clearly seen this thing, that Vedant was behind the driving wheel. Actually, Vedant's grandfather and father had locked the driver in their bungalow. They had also snatched his phone. And they had told him that you take the blame for the accident on yourself. In return, we will give you as much money as you ask for. And if you don't take the blame, then you will have to pay for it. That driver was kept locked there for 2 days. When the driver did not return to his house, then his wife reached the bungalow of Agrawal, looking for him. And from there, she left her husband and brought him home. After which, they both went to the police station to file a complaint. Isn't this just so typical? I sound very angry, right? But this thing is so typical, okay? Rich people can take advantage of their workers, or the helpless person, the poor person, just to save themselves. And I also understand this thing that when a child makes a mistake, then the parents try their best to explain to their child, to rectify his mistake properly. But all those mistakes are small. Or there's a slight mistake. Two people lost their lives here. And Vedant's father was doing this. If Vedant's parents were responsible, if they were good parents, generally I am saying this thing, okay? If they were good parents, then they would have helped them in the police investigation. They would have given their son his proper punishment, instead of saving him. Now when we are talking about Vedant's parents, then let's get to know them better. Vedant's grandfather, Surendra Agarwal, he is also being sued. And for what? Allegedly, he hired Chota Rajan in 2009 to kill Shiv Sena's leader, Ajay Bhosle. Vedant's father, Vishal Agarwal, instead of helping the police, was trying to deceive the police. When he came to know that the police is coming to arrest him, he sent his one car to Goa and the other car to Mumbai, so that the police gets confused that where did he go? And with his sealed tight plan, he could distract the police and could buy enough time for himself so that he could go somewhere else. And after sending these two drivers here and there, Vishal Agarwal, Vedant's father, was preparing to run away in his friend's car. But Vishal Agarwal didn't know that his friend's car has a tracking device. Tracking device? I don't exactly know. But with his help, the police found him. Now the police is in custody. The owner and employee of the bar who gave Vedant drinks even though he was underage. Vishal Agarwal, who knew that his son is underage and drunk, still he gave him a chance to drive the car. Surendra Agarwal, Vedant's grandfather, because he threatened the driver to take the blame on himself. The doctors who threw Vedant's blood sample in the dustbin have both been suspended, and the police is still interrogating them. And the police officers who didn't investigate the case properly have both been suspended. Now, after seeing this case being unfolded, one thing is very clear. Not in any other country, not in any other world, not in any other parallel universe, but in India, everything can be bought with money. Police, doctors, judiciary system, law, everything can be bought with money. Vedant's family crossed all limits to save their son. But at least they have their son. Their son is alive. What about Ashwini and Anish? What about their parents? Where are their son and daughter? Will they be able to save Vedant, or send him to another country, or run away on their own? Will Anish and Ashwini be able to come back? One day before the accident, Anish had told his mom on call that he's going to come home after a few days. He had recently come back from Dubai, and from there, he had bought chocolates and dates for his family. He was very excited to give them to his mom and to see her reaction. This adult's life, in exchange of life there is, like these lives are equivalent to 300-word essay. After a few days, Ashwini was going to go home, and on her father's birthday, she was going to give him a surprise. Is the price of Ashwini's life so low that the system which was trying to save her murderers should have given justice to Ashwini? Or at least they should have pretended that they are helping Ashwini. Now the children of these two families will not come back. But now the only attempt of these two families is to treat Vedant as an adult. The child who can drink alcohol, who can drive a car, who can beat others, he is an adult. And the one who can do all these things knowingly, that person is an adult, and he should get the same consequences as an adult. But among all these things, I would like to thank one person. Pune Commissioner of Police, Amitesh Kumar, who is handling this case very well, at least till now. But yeah, what do you have to say about this case? Whose fault is it actually? Is it Vedant's fault? Vishal's fault? Money's fault? Or is it Ashwini and Anish's fault, who were sitting on a bike and taking a U-turn? Genuinely, I want to know what do you guys think about this case. But sadly for now, this case is on hold. And I won't really do my usual outro today, babe, because I'm like, really angry. This thing doesn't happen normally. I just try to be non-biased about everything on this channel. But yeah, this case made me really angry.